Well, good evening, everyone. Back Monday night, and it's the big one. We're back in ACC. It's the first round of the ACC Championship in the 2022.1 season. I'm Daniel Haynes, and as always, we have Nick back this evening for GT3 commentary. So say good evening, Nick.
Good evening, everybody, and good evening, Dan, and welcome. It is 2022. Can you believe it? We're already at the start of our first season for the year in the GT Championship. Really looking forward to this because, of course, we're at Brands Hatch, and that has to be one of my favorite tracks in ACC, if not ever. So I'm very excited, Dan.
I think we both agree. We're just chatting off air. Brands Hatch is going to be epic, so we're not going to waste any more time just staring at me. So let's go straight over to the action at Brands Hatch. The guys have already started qualifying about 15-ish minutes ago. We've got 16 minutes left. And we've got plenty to talk about. It's a whole new season. The championship board is zero across everyone. We all start again. We get new cars. We get new drivers. We've got new tracks. It's a fresh start for everyone here at Brands Hatch. So what do we got to look forward to? What do you reckon, Nick?
Right, so a few things. Number one, let's just do a little bit of stats for the season in terms of sign-ups. So, in terms of ACC sign-ups, we have 106 people signed up for the season, which I think is pretty incredible. Definitely one of the highest number of sign-ups we've had ever. And without doubt, the most popular car this season is going to be the BMW M4, the new car, of course. Whopping 27% or 29 people have chosen that. And if you do a little bit of quick maths, you would work out that about, given that we've got 40 people for Division 1, that means you should have about 10 BMWs, and we have exactly 10 BMWs. The interesting part, though, is the McLarens. So the McLaren 720S is the second most popular car. 20 people have signed up with that, giving us approximately 20%. And with that, you'd expect about 8 McLarens, but we have 12 on server. So what that's telling me is the McLaren is mighty quick if you can get it to work, which, given the fact that Zahir Essa and Bashir Jadwat are separated by a 10th at the moment at the top of the field in qualifying right now with 15 minutes to go, is possibly no surprise, Dan.
Yeah, those two could get a milk float to work, though, let's be honest. But these guys have been lapping all of last week because HLQ is back and it's been missed. I think it's a great thing that it's back. So here's the HLQ timesheets. No surprise, Ashir Jadwat and Essa top of the charts. 122.625 from Jadwat, teammate in Essa, so basically the team's championship is over now before we start. But the teammate in Zahir Essa is 122.747. Philip Minar in 122.8. He was very happy with his lap. We're going to actually take a look at that in just a little bit. Ross Bartle, are they teammates, Minar and Bartle? Are they?
They're not actually. Bartle's teammate's not racing tonight. Brett Krocump is taking a drop round straight out the blocks. Unfortunately, work commitments for him.
So but Sas van der Vesthuizen is Philip Minar's teammate. Yeah. So Grumpy Monkey Carl is in third spot. Hannes van Veek fifth. Kieran Patterson, but very tight as we come to expect in GT3. The whole of the grid, we're only showing the top 20 here in HLQ, but the whole first to 40th, less than 2 seconds. So
but I'd like to point out, if you look at that, Bashir Jadwat at 22.6. Currently, the quickest time in qualifying is a 10th quicker than that, a 5.27.
Interesting. Maybe track temperatures have something to do with that. We'll have a look at the weather later. What we're going to do, though, whilst I've got the HLQ timesheet up, is our number 3 quickest driver of the week. Philip Minar recorded his 122.88, and it's quite an interesting lap. So he gave me the recording, and I did a quick talk over of it earlier and re-recorded it. So we'll have a play of that. Keep an eye out for the end of his lap, because a little bit dicey. So let's just play that hot lap and see how Philip got on this week. So welcome back everyone to ACC, and it's the 2022.1 season, first round here at Brands Hatch. And we have Philip Minar showing us how it was done. This is his quickest time during HLQ, and this is a flying lap with Philip Minar. So he comes up to turn 1, the infamous Paddock Hill turn, steep right-hander, throw it in, and you want to try and carry as much speed as you can without touching that gravel. Just about manages to hold on to it. Turn 2, the tight hairpin Druids. hugging the inside, and then wash out wide, get on the power as quickly as you possibly can down the hill into Graham's Hill corner. Quick flick. You can go quite wide out here onto the grass because it's sort of corrugated with concrete, but Philip keeps it quite tight. Then we're at the difficult one, the renowned turn 4 Brands Hatch Surtees. What a little this corner is, eh? But it's important. You need a really good exit. You've got to carry as much speed onto this back straight as you possibly can. Philip's getting a benefit of a tiny bit of toe from this Porsche in front. So how's he gonna, that probably will help him out a little bit. The right-hander of Hawthorne throws it in there. Porsche gets out the way, thankfully. Philip can carry on into Westfield. Next right-hander down the hill, and we're coming up now to Sheens, a corner where you can cut quite a bit, and we'll be looking at track limits during the race. Philip keeps it nice and tight though. Perfect line through there. Left-hander of Sterling's, the final left-hander, and then we're on the back clearway section, coming into the big sweeping Clark corner that can just ruin your lap. Hopefully there won't be a BMW just careering across the track when you're doing it, but Philip manages to keep his concentration. He's going to hug the inside line now and take the shortest possible route to the exit, and that is a flying lap from Philip Minnaar. Okay, so I told you it was an interesting lap. Did you catch that BMW at the end? I mean, my word, how close was that to just ruining Philip's best lap of the week? But he managed to get past with a 22.8, and that was enough for third. So where is he now? He's in third still. And his skin is working, so we can confirm that Ross Bartle has done something wrong selecting his skin, because we've got a Philip Minnaar Grumpy Monkey skin on stream as we speak. So he has not quite beaten his best lap time. He's 122.9 currently in on the server, so he's a 10th off, but still a good enough for third place.
Yeah, and certainly a little bit of an improvement from Philip. So we're used to seeing Philip running very high up the field in the GP series, and certainly in the touring cars as well. But GT is always, not always, but he's generally struggled somewhat. And certainly switching to Grumpy Monkey is so far, certainly in qualifying anyway, given him a little bit of a boost. I'd like to also point out, sitting in 9th at the moment, Kieran Patterson for Patterson Works Sim Racing is in a McLaren.
That's the first time he's not been in a Ferrari, isn't it? I think ever.
It is absolutely the first time. So that's quite incredible to see. It'll be interesting to know if he's switched just because he thinks the McLaren is so much quicker at the moment, or he just wants a change in pace.
Just doesn't want to be left out, I think. Just want to be one of the cool kids in the McLaren. Anyway, we got a lot of my opinions in that hot lap of Brands Hatch, so let's have some of yours, Nick. I'm bringing the track layout on screen right now. And
right.
It's a classic. I mean, we all know it. What's weird, though, is the full layout, as you see it, only gets used like twice a year because of noise restrictions in the area, which is typical UK for you, isn't it, really? You're not allowed to use this brilliant track you've come up with. You can only do it twice a year. So it sits in national layout for the rest of the time. And it's such a shame because look how much you chop off by using the McLaren corner at the top. You lose the whole bottom end section, and they have to maintain all of that for GT3 and British touring cars, basically, because it's the only time of the year it's ever used, which is...
And I mean, Hawthorns and, Dingle Dell, those corners are amazing.
Epic.
Sheen, Sterling's, they're just some of the best corners on the whole track. So, yeah, as you say, and personally, this is my test track. If I'm ever testing a car for the first time, this is where I come. I think it's absolutely brilliant. Turn 1, wow, what a turn down, heavily to the right, flinging the car through and taking that dip. What an experience! I mean, how many incredible passes have we seen through Druids Turn 2 as well? It's just all win until you get to Graham Hill Bend, and that really is tricky. Graham Hill is so tricky. I really struggle there. Followed, of course, by Surtees, which on the full layout is certainly a corner. Do you take a wide entry? Do you take a narrow entry? There's all sorts of
I hate
ways.
Surtees. I mean, that in my hot lap video, that got a bleep out of me. Look, I've got a bleep machine here. So Surtees is an absolute and I don't like it at all, because if you mess it up, it ruins your entire lap. Not just a little bit, but it just destroys it. You're looking down the whole straight, looking at your delta collapse. It's probably the most important corner on the whole circuit to really get right, because it's the one that punishes you the most if you don't. if that makes sense.
Absolutely. And as I say, there's a few different lines that you could possibly take depending on the car you're driving. It's not like a turn one. There's only one line. There's different lines that it could be depending on the layout of your car and depending on what car you're driving in the first place as well. So yeah, difficult corner certies, but then it's just joyous from there all the way through Pilgrims, Hawthorne. Oh, it's just absolutely amazing. Westfield, Dingledell's, Sheen, it's just all win until you get to clearways, and that can be tricky because it's slightly off camber.
100%.
You go up and over that hill.
How many laps have you just completely destroyed through Clark Curve? A lot. A lot. Because you've got to carry so much speed through there. You have to. But, I mean, you can wash out so easily, can't you? And your lap's gone. Or you push it too much and the back end comes out. There's so much that can go wrong right at the end of the lap, and it's hellish frustrating, but really rewarding when you get it right.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more. So yeah, I was saying that Brands Hatch to me is a little bit of the antithesis of Paul Ricard, because Paul Ricard tends to give us amazing racing, but it is awful to drive. It's just not fun. Whereas I find Brands Hatch personally incredibly fun to drive, but sometimes the racing isn't so good here because there are not too many places to pass. Turn 2, you can often get a pass going on through there, but there's not too many other opportunities that I particularly think of.
No, it is tricky, and you're waiting for mistakes. But because there's no runoff areas like Paul Ricard, it's a mistake usually costs you a place, doesn't it? You can't just come back on. You lose so much time. So you do. If you put enough pressure on, you can sort of push your way through by forcing a mistake. You mentioned that the times are slightly quicker. Possibly that's the weather forecast. So I brought the weather up. It's take us through the weather, Nick. What do you reckon? It's cold. It's cold.
It's pretty cold. So it's Assetto Corsa Competizione only goes down to 10 degrees. So
otherwise we'd probably be colder.
Yeah, exactly. So as most of you returning will know, SimRace SA, we try and match the race conditions to roughly what real world conditions are. And it's the UK, it's January, it's cold right now. So, but there's very, very little chance of rain, not expecting any rain whatsoever. So I think it should be fairly easy for the drivers to have worked out a strategy. Obviously, graining at this temperature is going to be an issue, but that's all they're really going to face. The track is not going to evolve too much. I'm not expecting the temperatures to go all over the place, and then the drivers are going to be struggling for pressures. I think it's just going to be a bit of tire management.
Yeah, but I think we're all enjoying the cold weather. In sim racing right now, when it's not cold here. Do you know what I mean? We get all the benefits of it without having to actually live in it, because I'm telling you right now, you don't want to live in the UK. This looks a lot better than it is this time of year, but 10 degrees, those tyres will last a little bit longer on a track that's a bit notorious for warming them up, if you say, but track times or qualifying times are certainly very, very good. Philip Minard now has also beaten his 1:22.762. So yeah, everyone is improving on even their HLQ times. Look at Essa, 1:22.397 now.
That's pretty phenomenal, you got to admit.
Massive improvement. I mean, that's a big improvement. So like, the top 3 have all beaten their HLQ times, where you had an entire week to lap, and they all did quite a few laps. I saw even Essa had done 60 odd laps in HLQ as well. We do have a minimum requirement these days, but it's only 15. Essa's been a bit renowned for just coming in and doing 3. Yeah. But this time he's actually put a bit of time in on the server, and yet still in a 30-minute session he's trounced it with these track temperatures. So it's a quick track tonight, definitely.
So let's just have a look who's in what. We've got a couple of McLarens, then we've got a Ferrari, then another McLaren, then our first 2 Bentleys. Hannes van Wyk. That is an exceptional performance, Hannes. Well done.
He was right up there in HLQ, was Hannes van Wyk as well. Massively improved driver in the sort of last few months.
Same with Kevin Barber. That's really impressive. Both of them absolutely finding some rhythm in this Bentley around Brands Hatch. Phenomenal.
Yeah, I suspect they may have put a few laps in, but certainly I know Hannes van Wyk's been right up there in quite a lot of competitions recently, so he's got to grips with ACC, that's for sure.
Definitely. You see Ross Bartle and Mark van Rensburg behind him. They're seasoned SRSA campaigners. I mean, they used to be fighting for positions, no problem, podiums, I should say. So that's really well done from those two.
I saw Ross Bartle a little bit cheesed off with his track/car combination. Felt like he'd had enough of it already. So possibly the BMW may be a little bit of a handful. But, I mean, considering how many BMWs have signed up, it's interesting that, yeah, Ross is the fastest BMW, and then you've got to go down all the way to 12th for the next one, and then Marcus Stein in 15th. So he might have something. He might have an excuse there, Ross, for future rounds, possibly.
Possibly, but I mean, Sean Bingham, as you say, in 12th in that BMW. Sean, for considering he's fairly new to the GT scene, obviously we've seen him in touring cars an awful lot over the last few seasons, but for GT he's certainly struggled to get to grips with things. And again, another driver that I think has improved quite a lot, considering he's in with Paul Fenter, who again we're used to seeing Paul fighting for the sharp end of the top 10, if not podiums. So,
but then we would probably say the same about Chris Heineke, who's season pro in the BMW and is right down in 20th, and we'd usually see him a little bit high up as well. So I don't know. I'm being devil's advocate for Ross there.
Could be a switch, getting used to a new car. I mean, Lawrence Sterner, we've seen him in the Aston Martin for how many years now, and he's switched to the BMW as well. Chris Heineke is generally in the Porsche, so he's also a switch. Same with Marcus Stein. So yeah, a few people jumping ships this season. In fact, Jason Luck, I think in 27th, is the quickest Porsche currently on the server. Does look to be. And you know what's really surprising is the distinct lack of Mercedes-Benz.
Yeah, they're going to be a little bit upset, aren't they? But I mean, I'm not going to get bored of looking at the McLaren. That's for sure. Obviously, I'm a little bit biased, but yeah, love to see a few McLarens in there. We only saw Dwayne Hall, I think, was the only one last season. Yes. Is the only one I can remember. And then all of a sudden, we got a whole bunch of them. He was obviously, fashionable before it was. Do you know what I mean? One of those trend setters, if you like. I think everyone looked at Dwayne's McLaren and said, "Yeah, I'll have a piece of that next season." But now we've got a whole ream of them. And the Bentleys have dropped off a bit, because there was a bit of a Bentley Cup at the start of last season, at least. But it doesn't seem to be the in-favour car at the moment in ACC.
No, definitely not. A bit of a shout-out to Mr. Tian Elof, who's one of our newest SRSA competitors, and certainly has been setting the timing sheets alight in both touring cars and GP. So kind of struggling in comparison to what he's used to. In 29th, getting up to speed. ACC is a bit of a different animal, but fantastic to see him here, and we look forward to him improving and making his way up the field as the seasons progress for his SRSA career. See, we've got the checkered flag now for qualifying. That's it. Drivers finishing off their laps. I don't see too many drivers out there at the moment.
We're on Mike LaRue. Mike LaRue is currently 3/10 up on his Delta. He's the only guy that I'm seeing out on track. Mark Randvensberg has just gone 1/10 up, but Mike LaRue is just about to finish his lap. This potentially could be enough for him to gain 3 or 4 places, I think, maybe get up to 12th if he can just carry it through this final corner where you can lose so much time, and he's lost a 10th already, down to 1/10 up on his day, so he will improve, and he jumps up to 14th position.
Not a bad result at the end there.
Van Rensburg's coming through, also a 10th up, is going to jump up to 6th spot right at the death, and I think, pretty sure that's going to be a wrap. Can't see.
Just above Hannes. Okay.
I think that's everyone. So,
Essa taking the first pole of the season, but of course Jadwat is on his heels, and that is going to be a very, very interesting inter-team dynamic to watch. Of course, those two have raced together for years and years and years, both as teammates and as rivals. So it's going to be very interesting to see how they cope with this.
And while I get my stream sorted, we're just going to take a quick break, but we'll be back for the start of this first round. Okay, welcome back to round one of the simGT Championship at Brands Hatch. And the guys have still got 1 minute to go before we start our formation lap. You can see the camber on that road because I'm looking at the camera 2 here, and we've got a few cars still on jacks, and they're looking a little bit suspect, really. We've got Bashir Jadrat in second spot, and he's got like one wheel jacked up in the air as he's waiting to drop down, but it shows you the slope on that pit straight. It's not a flat part to it. And S has just put his car on jack, still fiddling with setups. Obviously, there you go, he drops back down. So the cars, they'll be getting their setups ready. Obviously, a bit of fine-tuning, as we found out in GP last week on these cold temperatures. You hope guys have practiced that, because it makes a big difference to tyre wear, might make a difference to strategy calls as well. Just a reminder, this is a 90-minute endurance race again. So a little bit longer than any of our other series. And yeah, it gives a little bit more of an opportunity for some strategy changes throughout the evening.
Yeah, I must be honest, Dan. I'm actually just expecting a pure 50-50 split tonight because I'm not anticipating the temperatures to be changing too much. It's a pretty friendly weather setup we have going on for the first round of the season. We did think, let's be kind to the drivers to start with. Let's not bring in 2022 being exceptionally mean. So I hope these drivers appreciate what we've done for them. Because,
they never do. They never do.
No, they never do.
No, I mean, you could literally just give them all the driving aids under the sun and they'd still find something to moan about. But anyway, we try our best here at SimRace South Africa. And yeah, Ryan and Nick and Sath have been very, very forgiving to us the first few rounds. I suspect once we hit sort of June, July time and we're sat in freezing cold, wet weather and we're racing in 40-degree temperatures around the world, we'll start to hate this real-life weather thing again. But at the moment, we'll cash in when we can.
Especially as I think we go to Bathurst at some point as well, so that could be an interesting one.
Yes.
So yeah, expect the weather and so forth to come into play for these drivers much later on in the season, but tonight I'm thinking most drivers are just going to do a standard 50-50 split and leave it at that. So, as you said, Dan, points absolutely zeroed. We are looking at the start of a new season. Anything could happen. However, obviously, we've got those two McLarens Sim Racing Masterclass showing us what a masterclass they are for qualifying at least. Will they take themselves out in the race? Turn 1, you never know what's going to happen in turn 1, especially that right-hander down the hill into Druids. Could be some feisty action happening there.
At least 3 cars in the kitty litter in turn 1. It's not a long drag to there, but it's just such an easy corner to make a mistake on, isn't it? So I'm expecting a few people to go wide. You almost clip the gravel on a normal lap anyway, so yeah, you suddenly shove a whole load of cars all trying to fight their way through at the same time. Someone's going to go wide, I think. And then an opportunity in turn 2, because I mean Druids is the corner where you can just quite nicely send it up the inside and and almost get away with it, I dare say.
Yeah, you can. There is, as I say, that to me Druids is where there are the most opportunities.
Yeah, because you get a mistake in turn 1, and then if you get a run on them, yeah, there's pretty much nothing they can do if you pop it up the inside, and unless they want to crash, you can, like I said, almost get away with it.
The guys are going side by side now. Remember, we had at the beginning of last season a bunch of drive-through penalties because people were not in the correct position. They weren't following the prompts. Let's see if that happens here tonight as we are about to kick off the season.
Yeah, we definitely don't want that, guys. So they're just coming over to cross the start line. They're going to get green light shortly. We're going to stay in helicam just so we can get the best possible view of this turn 1 action. S has got the inside. Massive advantage here at Brands Hatch, I think. Very difficult to go all the way around the outside. He sends it. Bashir Jadwat is side by side, though. Got Philip Minars up the inside. Jadwat could lose out here. No, he's tucked in to defend. And as they were, Kieran Patterson is a little bit squirmy. Barber might go up the inside into Druids. He is indeed. Is Patterson going to try and stick it all the way around the outside? I think Barber might have this done. No, I don't think he is. Kieran Patterson is still there, managed to sneak it at the exit of Druids. So they're pretty much as they were, I believe.
Yeah, and up and down the field, everybody exceptionally well behaved. There should be a huge round of applause for the entire field because not a single person in the kitty litter.
I'm very disappointed. Very, very disappointed. What happened to Ross Bartle? He's a bit further back. No, he's not. It's my live timing. He's shot back up again. Yeah, he was down on slot 20th for some reason on my live timing screen, and then he just horsed his way back up whilst ACC did its thing. So yeah, everyone
is absolutely scampering away though. Look at this. He's already over a second ahead of Jadwat, who has Philip Minnaar all over him.
Yeah, that's a phenomenal lead in the first half a lap, isn't it? A second from Zaya Essa. So Bashir Jadwat got the honours in HLQ, topped the leaderboard. Feel like Essa probably went after that leaderboard a little bit with a few laps more than what we're used to seeing, but it doesn't matter because on race night he is leading on lap 1 and he's going to be a formidable person to try and track down. But they're teammates, so surely it doesn't matter. 1-2 for the team and all that. Mercedes, anyone?
I mean, top 3, in fact, are scampering away. It has to be said. So we've got Philip Minnaar pressing Bashir Jadwat right now, but behind them, Kieran Patterson a second behind Philip. So you know the top 3 already looking a little bit like they are going to start pulling away. I have seen a little bit of argy-bargy in the background of the field, but in general, people keeping it very nice and tight and clean. Sort of from 13th all the way down to 25th. There's barely anything between that mid-pack.
We've got a few issues with skins by the looks of it, 'cause we've got Kieran Patterson is in a yellow McLaren, but it hasn't got any livery work on it, which I'm assuming might be a mistake. I don't know, but something they'll have to fix. Maybe they selected the wrong skin. I did install the livery pack just before the race, so if it was submitted it should be there, but we've got a bit of a plain Kieran Patterson. He's gone wide though, hasn't he? As Barber comes up the outside. Bit of contact there. That's going to be
difficult to stick. Oh, that's going to be very difficult to stick. Unfortunately, Sterling is a very difficult corner to go around the outside.
Now's trying to go around the outside at the end. Clark corner. Oh, good luck there. No, they were back into position.
But you see one little mistake. This is exactly what you were talking about earlier, Dan, is one mistake at Brands Hatch and you're likely to lose a position or two and get, thrown back into the clutches of somebody else. As I see here, Essa already sets the fastest lap of the race.
You've got to love the fact that it's grass and gravel runoffs, basically, isn't it? And that's what gets you position changes, because a mistake is heavily punished.
You mean a proper track?
Yeah, an old-fashioned proper track, no mucking about.
Oh, we've got Linda in 36th position, has hit the barrier exceptionally hard and has had to pull into the pits. It's unfortunate for him. And we've got Holtzhazen as well in the pits. We've got a bunch of people currently sitting in the pits, although it does look like Crowcamp and Buck are just sitting there in the pits. I imagine that's 2 retirements already.
I have a slight issue as I've lost camera control for some reason, so we are currently looking at Zaya Essa, and my ACC broadcasting has decided that he doesn't want to do any broadcasting and I cannot change any cameras, so you can carry on talking, but you will be watching Essa for a little bit whilst I try and figure out exactly what's gone on here.
Oh, that's okay. So we've got Kevin Barber in the Bentley, currently pressuring Kieran Patterson in his somewhat unfamiliar McLaren. So we see, Kevin showing just how good that Bentley is on the brakes, really closing up on Patterson, but not carrying the speed down through turn 1 that he really should have, and that's actually put Kevin back into the clutches of Mark van Rensburg, also in a McLaren. So really, Kevin at the moment sitting as the meat in a McLaren sandwich. We do have for 4th McLaren, 5th Bentley, 6th McLaren, and 7th Bentley, with Hannes van Wyk having a stonking race at the moment, doing exceptionally well, keeping Ross Bartle nicely at bay. Of course, Ross currently the quickest BMW out there in 8th position, with Sean Bingham coming up in 9th. He's doing that's really well done for Sean. I think he qualified approximately 13th or so, made up a few positions off the start for Point Blank Sim Racing. Doing exceptionally well is Bingham, definitely one of the best improvements between seasons for the end of 2021.2 and the start now of 2022.1. That's an exceptional job there by Sean Bingham, really coming into his own as a force to be reckoned with, along with Kevin Barber and Hannes van Wyk. Definitely at the moment, those three showing huge improvements in the league.
We're going to have to go to a bit of a radio broadcast here, Nick, because I fear what Alan Patterson's saying in chat is actually bang on correct. No matter what I do, I'm not going to get cameras back unless I restart the game. It's not happened to me before, but possibly it's happened to Alan because he seemed to think that's the only option. So, yeah, if we don't want to watch 1 hour and 23 minutes, I'm sure we'll see some formidable driving from Zaire Essa, but might get a little bit tiring looking at the same McLaren for the entire time. So we're going to cut to our countdown timer, but just the background here, and then I'm going to do some funny business, and you can do some radio broadcasts in the background, Nick. We have to be quite descriptive so the lovely viewers can imagine what's going on.
Well, maybe this will be my forte, because I've certainly been told I have a face for radio. So how's that? There we go. Let's see if we can make it work. At the moment, I'd say probably our best battle on track is for 9th with Mr. Sean Bingham, and he's got Schutter straight behind him in a Lexus as they come through. Oh, that is close through Sterling's, because Mr. Schutter has Marcus Steyn all over the back of him in a BMW as well. So once again, we have somebody in a bit of a sandwich. Oh, and we have Marcus Steyn making a move, easily getting past Schutter for 10th position. Almost looked like team orders, that. And we got a McLaren coming out of the pits as well. I think that is Warren Linder finally managing to fix all of his issues. But we do have a position change now. We have Marcus Steyn up into 10th position, absolutely breezed past the Lexus coming through the last corner. Very, very odd to see a move made quite so easily there. That's why I wonder if that's not some sort of team orders, but I'm unaware of those two being in a team together. And off Marcus Steyn goes, chasing down Sean Bingham, who's trying to maintain his well-earned, hard-earned 9th position, getting a little bit squirrely through the fast corners at the end of the back straight. Oh, and we have somebody off ahead of him. Who is that? Is that Sean Bingham? It is Sean Bingham. Sean Bingham has gone off the track, just touching the grass and actually letting everyone through. What is going on? Sean definitely has a problem. He's lost 3 positions. All of a sudden, just pulled off to the side of the track and let everyone by. I'm completely caught unawares as to why that might be. Is he going to go into the pits? No, hang on. This is very strange. I saw him pull over, but we are currently still showing on the timing screen with Sean in 9th. So we'll see if that sorts itself out.
We are back and we have cameras and with Sean Bingham, and I was so excited with your radio commentary. I was very eager to get back, but we've got back in 9th position, so he just seemed to go back on his own, did he?
Yeah, I maybe that was my computer showing very funny things. It just seemed to look as if he let everyone through, but maybe I missed exactly what happened. Either way, Sean has managed to maintain his 9th position, and we look forward to seeing how that battle shapes up. Like I've got 13th, 14th and 15th, Sterner, Peterson and Governor all battling for that 13th position. Quite close between them all. And it does look like Governor is wanting to make a position, wanting to take Peters. He's Governor, of course, we're used to seeing in the Ferrari. Another one who switched from the Ferrari to the McLaren, in fact. So this could be interesting. I always
heard the McLaren was a bit of a death car. It was lightningly quick, but only in the right hands. But it looks like everyone's decided to give it a go, as we've got a car going backwards there. There's a back marker in a BMW.
It is a back marker, yes. That's Holtzhausen. Maybe that's the person I got confused with.
We've got some fans of the BMW in chat. Dukeman, that BMW looks great. It does. It's just we don't want sort of 40 of them on the grid. But actually, we've got here, at least in Sim Race South Africa, I think helped by the update, and also the fact that you have to select your car for basically 6 months, we weren't as heavily affected as the massive BMW sort of sway that every other league has had recently, because people are fearful, I think, of being stuck with it when it gets nerfed with an update. So we've got a good selection of cars, quite frankly. Obviously, every single season we get one brand more popular than another, but it's nice to see a few more cars when you've been used to seeing so many Bentleys for the last 6 rounds.
Yeah, absolutely. Just having a look at up and down the field just to see who's some of our gainers and our losers. Lawrence Stone, I'd say, is a bit of a gainer over here in 13th position, doing exceptionally well. I think Sas van der Weesthuizen is probably our biggest loser at the moment in 23rd.
Oh dear.
He was well into the top 10 at one stage in qualifying. So
I wonder what happened to poor old Sas then.
Yeah, definitely. He hasn't taken a pit stop, so something must have gone a little bit wonky. I'm not seeing too much damage, certainly not on the rear of the car or the front, so
it's
possibly just a spin.
It's hard to see damage on that car though, isn't it? Let's be honest. It's like one of those liveries where you get camo going around the Nürburgring because you don't want to see any sort of detail on the car. Those camo liveries you get that brands put out with that busy.
You're trying to say that Grumpy Monkey Boys have cobbled together extra few aero fins or something.
Yes,
to try and
I think
them
that's it. They don't want you to see their aero, so they just made the skin as busy as humanly possible, and it looks epic. I mean, I do think it looks amazing, but it does just remind me of one of those camo skins to disguise the car. I mean, you can't see the front lights on it, can you? They're properly hidden. But yeah, it looks fine. Sas has just obviously had a bit of a nightmare in 23rd spot. Whereas Ross Bartels managed to work his way back up. He's up into 6th position, so he might prefer lapping race laps than he does qualifying laps in that BMW, possibly getting into a little bit of a rhythm, and he's trying to hunt down Hannes van Veek, 1.5 seconds behind at the moment. That big gap that sort of Esther stretched at the start it looks like Jadwat sort of tamed it a little bit, 3 seconds and holding. So he's not fully racing away, but it's not. He's certainly not. He's not shrinking it, is he? Let's be honest.
We've got Marcus Steyn in 10th, all over the back of Sean Bingham at the moment. This is BMW on BMW action with Schutter looking in the background for any small opportunity. It does. Oh, you can see how squirrely those BMs get down through turn 1. That's. Sure, that was quite a something. I was watching on the helicam, and I could even see them getting quite squirrely. You can see Sean just running a little bit wide on the exit of Druids there, allows Steyn to catch up.
I do think though, turn 1, if you're not sort of hanging on for dear life, you've left time on the table, haven't you? Brands Hatch turn 1, you just put everything there, and you're wincing that you don't end up in the gravel, and then you're like, yes, pulled it off, best lap ever. And then you got to wait 1 minute 22 seconds before you have to do it again. It's one of those corners, isn't it? It's sort of, yeah, in VR as well, when you drop down, a little bit like the corkscrew at Seca. It's got that sort of, makes you feel a stomach churn a little bit.
Yeah, Sean is definitely feeling the pressure here from Steyn again, running wide through those fast corners at the top.
So who are we looking at?
Here at some point.
We're just going through admiring some of these liveries as well, because that's the plus of a new season. We've got a few guys that are still yet to submit, but the ones that have, we've got some stunners. McLaren looks awesome in any colour though, it really does.
Not that you're biased at all.
No. I mean, if I can't have a Jag on the track, then second best I'll have for McLaren. And no one in their right mind's going to pick a Jag. And we got someone in chat saying, is there anyone in this Nissan GTR racing? No one in their right mind picks that either. But Matthew, you could join Sim Race South Africa, and next month you could be the only Nissan GTR in Division 2, probably. Even if you're the best driver in the world, it'll be a feat to get it into Division 1. One of those cars.
Absolutely 100% wrong. We do have
no
2 people.
But they're not in Division 1, are they? Are they?
No, they're not in Division 1.
No,
We have 2 people selected the Nissan GTR.
Okay, they were misled as well by Matthew, I think, in chat. Yeah, totally sent them up the garden path and said, pick the Nissan, it will be epic.
Which is double the number of people who've selected the Lambo, the Huracan, and the NSX.
Yeah.
So,
It does pain me that every year the Jag is on the selection list, and it just, I mean, I don't even know why it's on the list. We had one year when it was selected. I don't think, who was it? It was I can't remember who it was.
Brent Lindsay-Ray.
Brent Lindsay-Ray, and he didn't even finish the season. He ditched it, didn't he? Yeah, he's like, sorry, Dan, I just can't do it. Makes me so sad.
Maybe that should be a league balance of performance. If you win too many races, you get given the Jag or the V12 Aston.
Well, I suspect quite heavily that is why I'm only a commentator and not an admin. Because these sort of changes might be coming in if I was to be sort of upper management. But I'm quite happy in lower management, and here we are quite happy with 1 hour and 13 minutes to go in the first round at Brands Hatch. And it's a little bit as we expected at Brands Hatch. Not easy to pass, more easy to force someone into a mistake, but our leaders, our top 3 or 4 are as they were from qualifying, so they may have to wait until the pit stop window. But saying that, Philip Minnaert is only 3/10 behind Bashir Jadwat now, so he's managed to really pile on some pressure. Now I say it's a good track to push some pressure on, it's just you don't really want to be doing it to Bashir Jadwat, do you? Multiple champion here at SimRace South Africa, because he soaks it up like you wouldn't believe. Better than anyone.
Well, I mean, that's if that's the only string to your bow at this stage, then, you know, give it a go. See what happens. You never know. We have seen Bash make a mistake.
I think it was in like 2015, wasn't it? I remember it quite vividly. That one mistake. Oh,
no. There was one last season, although there was.
Didn't he lose force feedback on his wheel or something? Yeah. So we were loving the mistakes, and then we had to eat our words when he suddenly goes, "Oh, guys, I did that whole race without any force feedback." But Philip Minnaert, no matter which way you slice it in the Grumpy Monkey Ferrari, is having a phenomenal ACC race here, isn't he? Well earned his podium spot so far. He's got 1 hour 12. Let's just hope that he can finish it off, because he was like me in GP last week, where he had an absolute mare and ended up watching the second half of the race on YouTube, which is never nice. I didn't enjoy that at all. But let's hopefully Philip Minnaert can get it right. Got an hour to go though. So much can happen still in this race.
Have a look at 13th. We've got Sterner and Peters fighting for 13th position, and Peters is putting all kinds of pressure on the back of that BMW of Sterner. I would not be surprised if he tries a move into turn 2. Just got to make runs wide though, runs wide and drops back.
Look how much time he lost there as well. I mean, just 2 wheels onto the grass. And there are places here, a couple of corners, where the grass is basically concrete, isn't it? It's like a checkered sort of grid, and you can run wide. But predominantly, if you go wide, you're losing half a second, basically, guaranteed.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's amazing. Bash, as you say, is soaking up all that pressure, hardly losing any time to Essa. So that must mean that by association, Minnaert's doing basically the same lap times as Essa. So that's pretty phenomenal from them.
We've got some ex-racers in the chat, I think. Do you know Osman Valley? It looks like he used to be before my time, and it's a friend of our noble leader, Jason Holden Jones. He's contemplating a return.
Oh, come on, Osman, you got to come back.
Yeah, 100%. Right, just as a reminder, just for you, go to simracesa.co.za and fill in that bloody form. And next month, I mean, this could just be your drop round. You could still be SimRace South Africa GT champion. 5 rounds to go, ace all of those. Don't even need to do Brands Hatch. Thank you very much. Imagine how good that'd be.
Yeah, exactly. You can't have these sim racing masterclass guys have it all their own way.
No. And then Matthew can join you in the Nissan GTR. He'll be going for a different type of champion, but he could still be joined.
So we've got Marcus Stain still all over the back of, or trying to be all over the back, I should say, of Sean Bingham. There's a bit of a gap that's pulled out there, but we've got Schulte all over Stain, in fact. So this has been a cat and mouse that's been going on for the last 6 or 7 laps. Kind of trading places, well, not trading places, but certainly trading deltas between the two.
Yeah, just
Schultz
looking at
in
their
that Lexus.
best
Very
laps. Their best laps are within half a tenth of each other, so Stain is very, very close, and it's gonna need a mistake, I think. You're not gonna get a natural pass when your optimum lap is basically identical. Haynes just getting a little bit wide in the McLaren behind, pushing up a bit of dirt. Do that on Surtees and you just watch your Delta just collapse for the whole of that straight. Really painful, that is.
Is it just me, or was that Lexus so much quicker down the straights than the BMW? But I thought the BM was pretty good on the straights. Oh, big slide from the Lexus. Big slide.
I didn't say anything about the Lexus. That was all Nick. I just want to put that out there. But, I mean, I think that Lexus is heavily underrated, isn't it? I always go back to exactly that livery, actually, that was me and Jason commentating, I think, at Suzuka. And we got a bit of a masterclass in the Lexus that day. I can't remember who it was that was driving it for the life of me, but maybe Jason can. It was an epic race. I think it was one of our most viewed races on SimRace SA, actually, with a sort of wet race in Suzuka. But that Lexus just completely owned it, and I was expecting to see a few more, and we've never really, never been a popular pick.
So my understanding of the Lexus, and ACC fanatics, please correct me on this one, but my understanding on the Lexus is it's a really easy car to pick up and play, and it makes you feel like you're going really quickly without too much effort. But then to get it to top level performance is exceptionally difficult from there. It's possible,
right? And maybe it's good in the wet.
To do.
Because I mean, I now remember that Suzuka, I think, was Leslie Oliphant, and he was just awesome as soon as it got wet and just ripped away. But yeah, it's not. There must be a reason why it's not heavily selected. But I've certainly seen some very quick drivers in it. But then that was always the case in the McLaren as well.
Yes.
Not very well selected, but some of the world's fastest ACC drivers would pick it. So and then all of a sudden now we've got a whole ream of them in this season. So we'll get very up close and personal with the McLaren 720S over the next 6 rounds.
The top drivers in the world select that Porsche. We've got Jason Luck in 19th position, and quickest Porsche guy, and certainly doing a lot better in the race than he did in qualifying.
Using all of the track there and a bit more.
Absolutely, you got to use what you can, and really trying to pressure Jonathan Bentz, who's historically been in the Mercedes, but has switched now for the Aston Martin.
Yes.
Oh, Jason!
He got very sideways in turn 1. There's the mistake.
Good catch.
Very good catch. Easy to have lost that. I think he might be a little bit more nervous in 1 minute 30 when he goes through there again. Turn 1.
Definitely. I flicked back to Schultz now, watching him once again try to mount an attack on Stain, all the while keeping an eye on Peters and Sterner as well. We've got some pretty good battles shaping up here.
We have indeed, with some new names and some new cars and some new liveries in this whole new season of SimRace South Africa. I'm loving it. We still got an hour to go. And it's a battle of BMWs and Lexus. We're not going to see much action at the front, I don't think. Who else have we got?
22nd, 23rd, Hottest Boys and Flip Front Sail doing what's probably going to become a little bit of a battle over the season, the McLaren versus a BMW, given the numbers of them in our sign-ups. You know, they're gonna come across each other, and in this case, Flip is looking to put a move on Hodgson, who, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't he quite high up on qualifying?
I can't quite remember. I am about to admit that, I mean, when that M4 came out, I thought it was probably the ugliest car I've ever seen in my life. And it's growing on me. That BMW does that, doesn't it? It really is growing on me. That horrific grille. Yeah, to be fair, the GT3 is really growing on me. The standard road car full series, not so much. But yeah, the grille doesn't look bad, and I suspect we're going to have to get used to it because it'll probably be on every single Beamer model throughout the range, won't it, shortly? But BMW have that sort of habit on doing that.
Yeah, I can't say I'm much of a fan at the moment.
You're still not a fan, okay? No. I think it takes quite a bit of time, and you've got to sort of squint a little bit and just eventually ignore it.
Here we go.
He got a much
Surely
better
gonna get a
exit there,
good
didn't he?
run.
Much better exit, Flip Van Zyl through Surtees. He's in the draft here. But
Look at that McLaren.
Look at the
That's
McLaren just
gone.
pulled, didn't it? Really did.
So is the BMW just not good on acceleration or something? Because we saw, if you remember that our little Lexus BMW battle, we saw that the Lexus was gaining quite heavily on the BM as well in the straights.
There's a bit of extracurricular work for us, Nick. Maybe you can go
Ooh,
on board.
mistake,
That was a major
mistake.
mistake there, and Flip Van Zyl put the pressure, and he got the spot. Yeah, sorry, it's a bit of extra work. Maybe you could just check the top speeds of the BMW and McLaren when they're in clean air down that back straight, and just be interesting to see a comparison between those two cars, because we're going to get sort of familiar with them. They are representing a good chunk of our grid right now. I've got Ross Bartels managed to get himself up into 5th spot. I think Mark van Rensburg's gone backwards.
Yes.
So Ross Bartels managed to poach. I saw Mark go off a couple of times earlier, so I think probably more error than anything else. But Ross Bartels having a good race. He's much preferring the race over qualifying, up to 5th. But yeah, Kevin Barber, I mean, that's not a name
phenomenal.
that we've been...
Hang
no
on.
disrespect
11th
to him.
and 10th. 11th and 10th. Sorry, we've got Schutter all over the back of Stain, looking to make a move. Oh my goodness, through Dingledale. That is incredible. Does he keep it on track? No, he doesn't. Slides off.
He's going to lose 2 spots here, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oosthuizen's gone through as well in the McLaren, yeah.
Yeah, but now Oosthuizen's all over the back of Schutter.
That's so easy to just push your speed too much there, isn't it? And that's
he had
exactly
the opportunity though. He had to go for it. That was brave. I like that a lot. I really enjoyed the ingenuity and you know, trying to make it stick. Got to try and make it stick.
Yeah, you've got to give it a chance here, but it's just unfortunate this track, the nature of it, is going to make you pay, and ends up losing a spot rather than gaining one. Is going to have to regroup here to get onto the back of Oosthuizen in that 720S in front.
Has shown he's quicker though, so I can't imagine it's going to take him too long to, unless he's cooked his tyres or something strange like that. Philip Minnar has fallen back heavily from Bashir Jadwat.
Yeah, 5 seconds. It was 0.3 when we were last on with him, so yeah, he's dropped back. Jadwat's holding the gap. Esther's stretching. It was 3 seconds, now it's nearly 5, but we're 19 laps, so it's not by a huge margin. But yeah, you're right, Philip Minnar has fallen off the pace.
I'm seeing no damage. I'm seeing no damage, so I don't think he's hit anyone, including
Probably
Jadwat.
Just pushing it a little bit too much, getting a bit of gravel or getting a bit of grass. But that is the one advantage here. You lose time, but you don't hit barriers, do you? So it's forgiving as far as race goes. You're not going to end a race. It's not Monaco, but yeah, it's punishing when you do make a mistake, which is exactly how it should be as far as I'm concerned.
It looks like Bartel's struggling now in 5th place. So of course he took Van Rensburg, so it's possible Van Rensburg made a mistake to lose that position. We of course didn't see it on camera, but Van Rensburg is now closing in at a rapid rate of knots to Ross Bartel.
Definitely a mistake from Bartel, because his last lap was a 1:25.2. And Mark van Rensburg was nearly a second quicker, 1:24.3. And Mark van Rensburg's fastest lap of the race is 0.2 quicker than Ross as well. So this could be an interesting one just to stay on board with for a little while, because there's going to be some pressure piled on here, if nothing else, from Mark van Rensburg onto the experienced Ross Bartel these days. It doesn't feel long ago that Ross was new to Sim Race South Africa, but it is actually quite... I think we're just getting old, aren't we? Is actually quite a long time ago. He's quite experienced these days in all sim racing.
And I think Ross started off in iRacing, if I'm not mistaken, but I do stand to be corrected there.
Oh, well, that shows his class then. Right, we've had a request to do some on-board, so let's go on board with Mark van Rensburg chasing down Ross Bartel in the 720S. Don't mind looking at the inside of a McLaren any day of the week. They look like flipping spaceships, don't they? Awesome. Dodgy turn 1 up to Druids. Tight right-hand hairpin. You've got to be so patient here in Druids, waiting to get on the power. Get on too early, you just lose. And then this, like you say, this tight flick here to the left. Looks so easy, but actually so hard.
And I really do think that Surtees is one of the most difficult corners on the track.
It is, because it's such that the apex is so late that you just can't. You're willing it on, and it feels like it's taking forever, and the temptation to go too early. And we've seen a bit of a mistake from Bartle, just clipping a bit of grass. Yeah, you just feel like getting on the power just a little bit too early at 30s, and it just destroys. It can destroy your lap time.
If I remember correctly in the update, it was one of the major changes to the BMW was the aero profile, or something to do with that. So it's now much more difficult, as I understand it, to follow in the BMW. So as soon as Ross is coming up against these back markers, he's going to suddenly be struggling for pace.
And we'll just go...
Is my understanding.
Yeah. I mean, both of these cars were affected in the update, the BMW and the McLaren. The McLaren just to a slightly lesser extent, and obviously they weren't too explanatory. Exactly what they've done as we got a mistake there, as we look through the rear view where... I mean, Ross Bartle's loving that rear view mirror right now as he sees Mark van Rensburg mess up in turn 1 and drop quite far back. So he's got to regroup. There you go, turn 1, even the best make a mistake.
Jason Luck in 19th is really pressuring Jonathan Bentz. Jonathan, of course, owns the yellow company that does a lot of the liveries for a lot of the races in SimRace SA and beyond.
That does look cool, that livery, doesn't it? It really does.
Yeah.
Jonathan Bentz, look at the front of this Aston Martin. That's pretty cool. I like the lights. I mean, if you come out with a crappy livery and your job is selling liveries, then yeah, it doesn't.
Not
look
his
good.
Only job,
but
yes.
it obviously not his only job. But he does have some epic liveries, so he shows off his skills quite well on his own car. So yeah, there you go. If you need a livery, Yellow Design Company.
Yeah, I've used him myself a couple of times. He's always knocked it out the park. But what is happening is Jason Luck at the moment is knocking it out the park in that Porsche and doing exceptionally well to put a lot of pressure onto Jonathan Bentz. Of course, the biggest problem that Jason has is the Porsche is not great on the straights, so he's going to really struggle to make a pass there. He's going to have to force the issue. Oh, and almost runs into the back of Jonathan Bentz. Just because he's got a good-looking livery doesn't mean you can try and make it worse. Jealousy makes you nasty.
Yeah,
but Jason is piling on the pressure now to Jonathan.
They both got away with it, though, don't they? They both got away with it, and we get to enjoy it as they carry on. We're getting a few compliments on chat. We've got Dukeman saying, "Guys, seriously impressed with the level of commentary," which is very flattering.
That is very, very flattering. Ooh, we got Chris Heineke. Hang on, Chris Heineke in 17th is all over the back of Endron Governor in the McLaren. Used to seeing him in a Ferrari. Going to take me a long time to get used to that. I'm trying to remember when last Endron was happy in something else, but he's definitely got Heineke all over the back of him. Heineke possibly suffering a little bit now that he's caught up to Governor with that aero problems with the BMW. But let's see. You see, the McLaren just goes.
Yeah, it
just
really
puts
does.
Puts his foot down and goes. It's unbelievable.
And that's not what I was expecting, because I was just told that the BMW was just lightningly quick. I mean, we had none of them in the last season because it came out with an update after the season had already started. So this is the first opportunity we're ever going to see it in this league. And but everyone's just saying it. Oh, it's OP, it's OP, it's outrageous, and clearly it must be to some extent. But I think a lot of it is just it's new and. It's the cool thing to be in. You watch influencers on YouTube and everyone's driving it and everyone signs up on it. But yeah, here, that McLaren just pulls away.
Ooh, we've got someone. Oosthuizen is in the pits from
12th.
From 12th. I think he was a bit higher up. He's dropped a couple. So that's a very early pit stop. But I would say it's probably a planned pit stop.
Yeah, I think it's early enough, isn't it? 55 minutes to go, 90-minute race here. He's just come in a little bit earlier. We've got Findlay also in 27th spot come into the pits as well, but he's 2 laps down, so that could be for absolutely anything at this point.
Yeah, Fridge, of course, the one of the Lotus racing guys.
Yes, you race with him, don't you?
Yeah. There's a whole. They have their own. The Lotus Challenge have their own. Sim Racing League, in fact, and they've decided to branch out, which is fantastic to have them on board as well. So
he might be struggling a little bit more with the ACC than he does AC, though, because he was hellishly fast in the GP car last week in Assetto Corsa, and just struggling to hook it up in ACC. But that's not an unfamiliar thing to see. So maybe he'll just need a little bit more time in this particular sim.
Oh no, he's got to drive through.
Oh, well, there you go. The first race in ACC, and that's the one thing you can't get in Assetto Corsa, is it? A drive-through for speeding in the pit lane.
Yeah, that's a real shame. That's a real shame, Fridge. That's unfortunately a definite driver error. Bashir Jadwat has suddenly dropped back another 4 odd seconds to SS, now 7.3. Last time I remember it was about 4 seconds, and then Philip Minnow 4 seconds behind. So I think Essa maybe just has found his legs and decided to sprint away somewhat.
Yeah, I mean, those two are just pretty much in a league of their own, aren't they? With 7 seconds to second place Bashir Jadwat. Philip Minnow managed to peg that gap to Jadwat to 4 seconds, though. So it's still not out of the realms of possibility. You're in with a chance with pitch stop strategy within 4 seconds, aren't you?
Definitely. You know who else is in for a chance? Stefan Herbst in 14th, looking in the back of Peters. Peters has a back marker in front of him as well. So this is all going on for Peters, desperate to keep that position. Back marker really not giving way. Oh, and Herbst throws the car through the corner as well. Both of them managed to make it stick and continue on their way. I've got to say that I think Peters managed to grab a couple of car lengths through that section. Having the back marker in front of you can sometimes help, and it's so often a lottery, isn't it? Where there we go. Makes a mistake. Oh, makes a mistake.
Another one as well. Look at this. He's going to be 3-car sandwich with Bentleys.
And Governor now all over the back of Herbst.
Who is that back marker in the Bentley that is getting... He's coming into the pits. Someone's coming into the pits. Let's work out who it is. It's Hardest Boys, is it?
Yeah, I was on board with Herbst the whole time, and there were double waved yellows. A flag came up on his dashboard. Double wave yellows through that section. We see exactly why. All drivers getting through unscathed somehow, but it was almost a golden opportunity for Herbst.
Yeah, I mean, you do just shut your eyes and just hope for the best there, don't you, really? It's, when you've got... Oh, we got a car off in front as well there. Was that another back marker? Yeah, I think it was. Just
it was.
Completely disappearing across the grass. Getting a few errors. I just remembered we've got actually, I need to confirm, maybe someone in chat, that we might have replays available again in ACC. The proper way, as in we can go back on people that we've not even seen on stream, but I'm too scared to use it in case something hitches. But I think they fixed that bug. So
they're really struggling in that McLaren. When that McLaren bites, it bites hard, and I think it's bit a few people here tonight.
It seems to just snap, doesn't it? We've had a few guys that, literally back end goes and it snaps.
Sorry, Jason Luck has managed to get ahead of Jonathan Bentz, and Sas van der Westhuizen is now all over the back of both of them. Oh, Bentz putting wheels on the grass. That's not the way to do it. And you're off, and that's through for 17th position and looking to chase down that Porsche of Jason Luck.
I think that front splitter is supposed to be for aero, Jonathan, not for blading your way through grass. But it has done a little bit of farming. But he looks like he's come back on track unscathed. He's just dropped a place, so he's down to 18th. Sas van der Westhuizen is working his way up through. We didn't work out what went wrong at the start of this race, but he was in the 20s, wasn't he? Mid-20s, and he's up to 17th now. So he's fighting his way back on a bit of a recovery drive. Seems to be a little bit of a theme to Sas van der Westhuizen, unfortunately. A bit of a recovery drive. So he's due a good one somewhere. He's looking up the inside of Luck, and he's got it done. He's got it done. Great pass. Great pass from Sas van der Westhuizen there. He'll be happy with that.
Herbst is still struggling behind Peters, but he is definitely quicker. Oh, they've got cars off in front of them yet again. There's a definite train. Oh, 2 cars.
Oh, we're seeing a lot of errors now, aren't we? Cars are going off everywhere now. It was so calm for the first sort of hour of this race, and all of a sudden now people are going off just before we come in for new tyres, coincidentally.
Yeah, look at that. Who'd have thought it? Who'd have thought it? Oh, BMW getting squirrely. Can he get past? Blue flags waving frantically. Should be no problems up the inside. Here we go. Yep, easy game. Oh, and a car sliding off into the pits there.
There's cars sliding off everywhere. I'm like, what on earth's going on?
Yeah, these drivers are going to have to be on their toes the entire 90 minutes, I tell you what.
Wow,
and now...
Look, I mean, we didn't see any of it at the start, did we? So it's clearly a tyre situation. Must be. Absolutely must be.
I tell you what, that was Sterner. That was actually for position. The BMW that Tabs just got past was in fact for position. It's Lawrence Sterner, who we have, as I've said before, used to seeing.
McLaren behind again in Edrin Govender, fully sideways, manages to hold it. We're seeing a lot of McLaren struggling now, aren't we? At the end of this first stint. I mean, he was fully sideways there, managed to hold it very gingerly, and he dropped back good second. He was right up behind Sterner.
This is brilliant. These guys just cannot decide who should be 10th.
No.
With, of course, we've probably got Sas van der Veste. Oh, he's 10 seconds behind. It's a bit difficult for him to really close in on these guys, but
he's got some clean air now, though. He can get his head down up to 14th. He's got sights for a top 10 finish, as Sas van der Veste. He's in 48 minutes to go in this first round.
I've got to say that I think Bashir Jadwat is struggling on these worn tyres because he's fallen back about a second to Essa again, and Minar has closed in about 0.8 of a second.
Well, something a bit scary for the rest of the field is Zaya Essa's last lap was a 1:23.1, 1:23.1, and Bashir Jadwat was a 1:24.2, 1.1 seconds off the pace. Philippe Minard also 1:24 flat. So it's just Essa's relentless pace. I mean, he was only 0.2 off his best lap of the race, and we're on lap 29 on used tyres.
That's absolutely incredible. That is really scary pace.
I mean, you can't do anything about that, can you, really? If you can punch in basically close to your best lap at the end of your stint on used tyres, on a track where it punishes tyres no matter what the temperature is, and then, that's pure skill, feeling the grip and watching it and feeling it change and still being able to manage it, basically.
And on a track where there are just cars absolutely everywhere as well. I mean, Essa is right bang in the middle of a gaggle of cars.
We've got Alan Patterson jeering me to use the replay function, but I mean, I need a reason to use it, Alan. I'm saving it. I've been looking forward to its abilities, but I mean, I'm not used to hosting my own stream for a while, so I will try and remember. If we see an instant, we'll flip back 10-20 seconds and see what happened.
Has Alan told us what the reason for Kieran changing is?
I think he just wanted it. Yeah, I did see. Just wanted a change. Just thought it was time. I mean, surely eventually you just get bored of running the Ferrari constantly. He hasn't got a skin issue either. They just haven't finished it. So Alan's been slacking a little bit. So Kieran Patterson is in a banana McLaren 720S purely because his dad hasn't bothered to do a skin for him. But it's nice to see him change something, and he's still lightningly quick, isn't he? Because 6th position in a new car when he's so familiar with the Ferrari is a very good result.
Mark van Rensburg has dropped to 7th place. We were seeing him battling with Ross Bartle what feels like not very long ago. And he's now down to 7th with Kieran up to 6th. So
again, in the problematic 720S, it seems like the only person that can really maximise that at this stage of the race is Zaya Essa.
Yeah, everybody's struggling a little bit here and there with it.
Yeah, I'm looking at the comparison between last lap times and best lap times of the race, and everyone is nearly a second off their best at the end of this stint, apart from Essa, who's only like a few tenths off. So there's a bit of a skill there. That's something that maybe guys need to look at and work out in setup possibly, or just get good.
Yeah, so we've got the Oosthuizen in 18th, number 309. He is our highest place. No, I'm talking rubbish. Philippe Minard has just
we missed Philippe Minard going into the pits, but here he is coming out of the pits now. So he's
and you look at that, exactly halfway through the race.
Yeah, that's...
Give or take 25 seconds.
Not very imaginative, Philippe Minard. Maybe you could do a little bit better than that, please, just for us in commentary. But no, he's come out well. He's timed it well. But he's behind Lawrence Sterner. It says half a second, but it's going to be more because ACC live timings and all that, when they come through the sector, we'll get the actual gap. 4.6 seconds between Lawrence. So we've got a bit of clean air. That's exactly what he wants, isn't it, Philip Miller?
Really nice clean
That's
air.
perfect. That's worked out absolutely perfect for him. I'll keep an eye on his lap times.
And remember last season, Dan, we saw the undercut working extremely powerfully in a few races. I'm trying to remember.
In the Bentley, it was Alton Park was insane.
Yeah.
He gained like 4 or 5 spots in the Bentley, wasn't it? And that was because he was being held up because it was such a difficult track to overtake in.
Yeah, it just worked out so well.
So we got a few of the guys now.
But we did see it a few times actually being quite powerful.
So a few of the McLarens coming in. Mark van Rensburg in. Our 2 leaders, though, the Masterclass team, maybe they're going to share setup strategies as well, or race strategies, because they're still first and second.
Yep.
And
Barber,
they're not blinking yet.
Bingham and Sterner, all pits and coming out.
See, where's
So
Barber? Barber's going to be behind. It's got to be behind Philip Minard. They're waiting for the live timings. Yeah, I just saw Philip Minard ahead. There you go. So the live timings, please, ACC, please update your stupid tower. So when they go through the sector, Philip Minard will go up into 9th position as our leading pitter.
Yeah, there we go. And so Barber, though, doing pretty darn well. Very
well in the Bentley.
Yeah.
He was in the Bentley last year as well, wasn't he? But this is a phenomenal because he's basically net 4th. Bashir Jadwat's coming into the pits. There we go. Yeah. First of our leaders coming into the pits. 43 minutes to go in this race. And the Masterclass driver number 2. I don't want to say driver number 2. It's too early, isn't it, in this season? And that could get me into serious trouble. One of the Masterclass cars is in the pit lane.
It'll be interesting to see if Zahir pits immediately now as well to avoid that undercut. If, because we don't know what the inter-team dynamic is like. Yes, these guys, between them, have won pretty much every GT championship for the last however long.
I can tell you now, they flipping want to beat each other like you wouldn't believe. It's Rosberg, Hamilton, Mercedes, isn't it? It's got that sort of feel about it.
Are they saying, yeah, no, don't worry, my friend, I'm going to pit halfway through.
S is in.
Super standard.
He's covering. He doesn't miss a trick, Desire Essa. He's covering the pit stop and the undercut and should comfortably come out still in the lead of this race.
Yeah, I can't see anything going wrong here unless he misses his pit box.
So we've got Ross Bartle going long, though, in the BMW. Quite interesting. Might explain a little bit of his early lack of pace, but he's recovered really nicely in this race. How long can he go, though? No, he's in. There you go. Ross Bartle's in. Not going long. 42 minutes to go, and Ross Bartle has pitted. So Kieran Patterson is now the guy that's going long.
Yeah,
we've seen this before.
Used to seeing that.
Yeah. I think he just sort of thinks, oh, how much fuel can I put in this car? Yeah, that'll do. And then waits until someone tells him he's run out, because Kieran Patterson seems to do this tactic all the time. Goes long.
Although, remind me, the race last season that Kieran won, was that Paul Ricard? And I don't think he went long. I think that was one of the races he didn't go long, and he won the thing.
Oh, I can't remember. I can't remember his pit strategy. He got a flipping good memory.
I think it's just stuck in my head that he did something that he doesn't usually do.
Yeah.
But we'll have to divert to Kieran. I'm sure he'd be able to tell us.
I'm sure he will.
Forget a win here at Sim Racing saying Division 1.
No, you never do. You always remember them. I mean, I only remember them because I've only had one or two. But when you do have one, it does stand out. So, where are we? Zaire Essa has indeed come out, still in the lead of this race, and it's 7 seconds the gap to Jadwat. I think that's actually come down slightly, hasn't it?
It has. Yeah, so, Jadwat gained about a second and a half in the pit stop phase.
So he did right to cover him off, did Essa. Whether he ran out of fuel and he was coming in anyway, we'll never know until the end if he does an interview and lets us know. But Essa's comfortably leading this race, bit of a controlling it from the front, managing his pace. And it does feel like he's got race pace to spare, does RS, just looking at his lap times. We'll have to keep an eye on the other guys that have pitted and they come through now as to whether they're improving on fresh rubber. So Bashir Jadwal's going to come and complete his lap. This is his first flying lap from his pits, and it's a 1:23.7, which is half a second quicker than he was going before he pitted. So yes, definitely prefers fresh rubber. Philip Minar's also in the 23s, 23.8. So everyone back into the 23s where they were struggling to do so before the pit stop window.
I'll tell you what, Heineke has managed to work his way up into 13th, just past Peters. It's happened, I think, basically on this lap. And from riding on board Peters, I can tell you what, he has not been happy with that overtaking maneuver, however it happened, because he was flashing his lights at Heineke all over the place.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so...
I've been doing some research in IGTC rules for the Kalami 9 hour, and if you flash your lights more than 3 times between a corner, you get a penalty there. I thought that was quite interesting.
Yeah, I'm not liking the lots of flashing that's going on from Peters.
I feel slightly
trying to dive up the inside.
He's gone wide there, hasn't he?
Yeah. He's driving angry, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and the lights are still flashing. So
yeah.
More than 3 flashes in an endurance race, and you get a penalty. I was trying to copy and paste that rule into sim racing chat just to say because we have a tendency to just get a little bit irate with our blinkers.
I'm gonna move on from that battle while it sorts itself out, because who knows what's
Marcus Stain is within half a second of Sean Bingham. Trying to go through looking at lap times where they're close or thereabouts. And we haven't seen too much of Marcus Stain here. He's also taken the BMW this season, so it's going to be BMW versus BMW. Sean Bingham's just gone a little bit backwards in this race, down in 9th currently. I think he was a little bit higher earlier on.
Yeah, he was about 8th before. It wasn't.
Stain's
done very well though. Top 10.
Very much so. Very much so. A top 10 in Division 1 with how many drivers? We've got 100 drivers signed up for this season in ACC.
10, I think.
110.
Hang on. 106. Sorry,
106. I mean, there you go. So you're top 10 and 106, some of the fastest sim racers in the country. Something to be quite proud of, I think.
Yeah, absolutely, and definitely something to aspire to. I always felt like I had a good race if I managed to get into the top 10. Couldn't really complain too much.
No. So we got Stain is within half a second of Bingham. He just checking on lap times, 1:24.8 versus 24.7. They're lapping quite consistently together. So it's going to be a difficult pass. Doesn't appear to be a huge amount about it. Their fastest lap of the race is within 2 100ths of each other. So yeah, Stain's just going to have to just keep pushing and try and force Bingham into a mistake, I think. Just get a couple of wheels onto the grass or go a little bit wide into turn 1.
So what I'd like to know from you, Dan, is the lap times of Mr. Kieran Patterson.
Let me have a look at Kieran Patterson's lap times, who is going long. They're not looking good, Nick. I'm not going to lie to you. 1:24.9 was his last lap.
That bad? Oh, 24.9.
24.9. Bashir Jadwal at 1:23.3. So 1.3 seconds he's losing a lap, and he's coming into the pits as we speak. I feel like going long, as we saw a lot last season, not going to help you. And Kieran Patterson's going to come out and wonder why he's so far back.
It might be also that McLaren just eats its tyres and does not do well going long regardless. No,
and when you've only got 30 minutes left, you might wish you'd come in a bit earlier. But yeah, something to think about for the next rounds, which I don't know what is the next round here. I did graphics for them earlier in the week and I've forgotten already. Do you know what the next round of ACC is?
I will tell you right now. Hang on. Where is it being put? Here it is. Snetterton. That's where we're next.
I haven't spent much time at Snetterton. Which is
surprising,
really, isn't it? Because you think I probably should have done, but I haven't. So I will make sure I do before the next round. I didn't have to do any laps for this one, but Snetterton I will definitely have to do a few laps.
Yeah, so what we've got, round 1, Brands Hatch, round 2, Snetterton, which will also be during the daytime. That'll be about 2 o'clock in the afternoon start, from an in-game time point of view. Then we go to Mount Panorama, and we'll have a nice early start with that one. Let's get a good sunrise.
That's the opposite of this track for forgiveness.
Yeah, exactly. So that's going to be interesting, especially if those BMWs are very squirrely. I think we could see many damaged Bavarians when we go there. Imola, round 4. Always quite liked Imola. I think that should make for a great race. Followed by Suzuka for round 5. Also a bit of a sunset race. It's a 5 o'clock start. And finally, we're going to end off with a night race at Paul Ricard. And if you remember from last season, Paul Ricard was definitely the most exciting race we had all season.
I saw the schedule and I saw the times, and I thought Nick's had something to do with that. Definitely. Yeah. I thought to myself, Nick's picked that one, because we went into that Paul Ricard race last season. Quite vividly remember having a conversation with you before we went live, going, "This is going to be a snore fest. Cannot stand this track." And it was the best race of the season, wasn't it? Quite comfortably.
It was phenomenal.
Quite comfortably the best race of the season. So I had a little rouge smile on my face as I looked at the calendar and go, cheeky Nick, he's put it back on there, and he's got the same time as well. So he's after a repeat performance. So I do hope it is.
We've got 13th. Schulter just ran wide. He just ran wide through through Dingledell. Actually, no, not Dingledell. Yes, Dingledell. And then Dingledell corner, Hannes van Wyk pounced and looked to take him, although somehow Schutter has managed to keep that position.
You just love saying Dingledell, don't you?
I mean, it's what it's called.
Yeah, I know it is, but you've said it enough times tonight that I know that's your favourite
Well,
corner.
if drivers will stop making mistakes there, then I'll say Druids more often.
Right, okay. No, I think you love Dingledell a little bit too much, Nick.
Okay. I'll try a refrain from that.
So we're back for the battle of 13th. I mean, it just seems to be this sort of spell between 10th position and 14th has given us plenty of entertainment this evening.
Yeah, it really has.
As they're all trying to fight their way up into the top 10. Sas van der Westhuizen, after the pit stops, dropped back to 16th, and he was 14th, so not quite sure. Every time we miss Sas, he goes a little bit backwards. Maybe we should spend a little more time on him, because we watch him do some good passing then. But yeah, there is definitely a charge on to try and get into this top 10, and it's attainable from these.
Dale Peters has, Derek Peters, has made a overtake on Heineke through Hawthorne. That was quite incredible.
Quite brave.
Yeah, it did require Heineke to fight another day. That could have ended in a very, very big accident.
That could have been my opportunity to use the replay function there. But
could have.
At this point, a little part of me doesn't want to do it, just to annoy Alan Patterson a little bit more. But I forgot now, so I can't go back 40 minutes. I'll try and remember next time.
Hannes van Wyk is going backwards. He's come off through Sterling's, bounced along the grass for a long time, and is continuing to do so, and is jumping into the pits. I think he has a very broken Bentley at this stage.
Oh, yeah, there's the replay of it. He has straight into the barriers as Hannes van Wyk, and that will be probably a repair function. Look at that. Replay function is awesome.
Yeah, he's really, really going slowly through the pits, so I'm not sure exactly why he's coasting so much, but he is. Oh, I tell you what, he's trying to get his car fixed, get his keyboard out to tell the chaps what to fix.
I hate that. The last minute keyboard panic where you have to make a pit strategy change. Really painful. I had to do it last week. It's a disaster. It never works out as you want.
Has given Sas van der Westhuizen, Endrin Governor and Lawrence Stern, and pretty much everyone behind, a free position though.
Yes, they'll be quite pleased with that, because there's an opportunity here for a top 10 finish in a 106 car field for these guys. Chris Heineke, the old timer, is up into 12th now in his BMW. Much improved over qualifying, where I think he qualified in 20th position. So slowly working his way up through. Looks like BMWs are having a little bit of a better time of it in the race, more stable possibly than the 720s.
Sas van der Westhuizen's all over the back of Schutter now. This is the 14th position, looking into turn 1. Sas, that would be brave. Got yourself very squirrely there. back on the power, son, and look for druids. That's really where you want to throw it up the inside if you're
He's
going
having
to
a
do
look.
it.
He's having a look. It's too far back.
Oh, that's... How is he not touched there? That is close. That is close
very
racing. That is super... Oh, should have got
opportunity here.
Yeah, that should be done.
Up the inside of Surtees, should be able to just force him wide here at Surtees and make sure you get the spot. You want to push him out, Sass. There you go. Maybe not quite that much, Sass. That's maybe a little bit too much there, Sass. Okay, I didn't condone that as a steward. I was just trying to just gently nudge him, not sort of show him. But yes, that's the place done for Sass van der Vesthuizen, moves up into 14th position.
Yeah, so he's kind of back where he started from the pit stop.
Yeah, all that effort, and we've got Kevin Barber in the pits again. What's all that about?
Hang on, why?
7th place. He was coming in, I think, from 5th. He's made a mistake or something, or short fueled, because why would you come in the pits again?
But it's 29 minutes remaining. You'd have had to really have short fueled.
I mean, like completely forgot to fuel or something. I mean, that
could maybe put in qualifying fuel or something like that by accident.
Yeah, I don't know what's happened there, but he's going to be thoroughly disappointed with himself because that was not a strategy call. That's a mistake, isn't it? There's absolutely no reason to go through the pits, and he's now dropped to 10th position, which is a real shame because he was having an absolute blinder of a round one.
Yeah, he really was. He really was. So who's that giving positions to? Ross Bartle.
Ross Bartle up to fourth. He's certainly going to enjoy that, Ross Bartle. Thank you very much. Kieran Patterson up into 5th. Mark van Rensburg 6th. Oosthuizen up into 7th spot. Peter Oosthuizen. What a showing there. Loving. Yeah. Look at the McLarens in the 5 in the top 7.
Yeah, Oosthuizen definitely having a absolutely blinding race tonight. Gotta say, he's been super consistent. He's been pretty darn quick as well. And, he's taken to the limelight like nobody's business.
We've had a few questions saying, is it possible for me to join Division 2 in this round, thinking it's on Wednesday night? But we've had a change this season as Division 2 happens on a Monday night as well. So it isn't possible, unfortunately. But what it is possible for you to do is to go to the website, simracesa.co.za, sign yourself up, and you can be in Legends next week instead, in a car that Nick's going to talk about right now because I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, indeed. So, Legends, what an interesting series we have lined up for you in Legends. So, anybody who's thinking, you know what the worst thing about sim racing is I don't have any mates, and I'm just sort of on my own, independent racer. I could really do with a little bit of help from some other people. Well, that's exactly where Legends is going to come in and help you out this season. So everybody who signs up for Legends will be put into one of 4 houses. So we've got Kyalami, Killarney, Makisa, and Aldo Scribanti. And those 4 houses are going to go to battle in the Legends series at classic racetracks. I'm talking tracks from the 1950s and 1960s, and we're going to do battle on some of the most insane tracks you've ever seen in your whole life in the Maserati 250F. Yes, that car that, of course, Fangio made so darn famous, taking some insane wins, including what some regard as the best Grand Prix of all time. The Nürburgring legendary track where Fangio managed to haul back an absolutely insane gap and take that victory. So we're going to be in those Maserati 250Fs. I'm absolutely loving that car, I have to admit. It is insane to drive. It just wants to slide all the time. You've got to work with it. You've got to work out those sort of four-wheel drifts. You've got to use the brakes, the steering, and the accelerator all to kind of balance those, balance the car out. It's like driving a bathtub at 250 k's an hour. It really is an insane experience, and I think the series is going to be a huge amount of fun, and I really encourage everybody to get involved because it's going to be about how your house does and we're really looking to see which house does the best over the course of the 6 months.
I think we're going to see a lot of improvement as well over the season, because I mean, I haven't driven the car. I'm going to. I'll do a few laps in it just out of interest. I've watched some of your laps in it, and I mean, it reminds me of driving in the UK in winter when it snows on summer tyres. Is what it reminds me of. Which everyone hates it for the first day, and then after you've had a week of snow, if that ever happens to you, you're going around every bend with your handbrake on and you're having a great laugh and you're getting used to it. So I'm thinking it might have a steep learning curve, but will be super rewarding when you hook it up. So it's going to be very interesting to watch. If you don't want to race in it, then at least watch it next Monday night, 8 o'clock. And I think Sas van der Westhuizen will be taking us through on stream for that one. And
yeah,
you'll be in the car, Nick, won't you? So you're representing which house?
I'm going to be representing Pakisa, so I've got my Free State cap on, and yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to be good fun. It's going to be really good fun. I really can't wait. I think this series is going to seriously throw up some interesting results, and I really hope it gives some of the more experienced guys the opportunity to bring some of the more novice guys into the fold and teach everyone some of the basics of car control.
Superb.
Which of course can apply to everything.
Yeah, superb. And then if that's not your bag and ACC's not your bag, we still got 2 other series you can do. You got the TC cars, which cars is not really touring cars. It's like an Audi TT Cup, isn't it, at the moment?
It is an Audi TT Cup. I don't know if that's regarded as a touring car or not. But
sports car, touring car, I don't know. You can argue either way. Either way, it's a lot of fun. And people had a great time in round 1 at Red Bull Ring. And I got pushed to pass as well, which is interesting. So
indeed, and it depends where you are on the grid as to how many push to passes you have. So if you're in the top 10 on the grid, you get 15 push to passes for the race. And then it slowly increases as you go further and further down to the grid. So by the time you hit to about 20th position, you then get, I think, 18 push to passes. So it just slowly increases to give to make sure the grid tries to be as close as possible throughout the race.
And then GP is a new car as well in the Supreme, also with push to pass, and that thing's got insane grip. And we had a very eventful first race at Zandvoort, and we're all eagerly looking forward to going away from that track, and it will be at Road Atlanta for the next round. So 4 different series. Yeah, 4 completely different series. Pick your poison, basically.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
Or multiples of, or just one. But there is such a variety to be had that you can just pick whichever one takes your fancy. Give it a go.
Tell you what, Kevin Barber's poison right now is definitely ACC all over the back of Marcus Stain as they try and wiggle their way through the back markers. And
he'll be angry now, won't he, Kevin Barber?
Yeah.
He'll be trying to fight his way back. Obviously, whatever happened, we'll have to find out afterwards, but whatever happened that forced him to take an unscheduled pit stop, he's now got to work his way back into the meaty part of the top 10.
Yeah, he's quick, though, in the Bentley. Look at that. He's all over the back of Marcus Stain.
Yeah, he really is. And I expect a pass coming here, but in turn 1 up the inside possibly might not be the place to do it.
Oh, they'll give him the inside line for
He's got it,
Druids, though.
He's got it. He's got it done. That. There you go, Kevin Barber. He's not messing about. He's moving forwards. That'll get him 9th. Marcus Stain, I think, sort of relinquished that place for the sake of not crashing, if anything else.
He's really dropped back. Who's that behind?
Well, we've got a masterclass car sandwiched between these two, so I think Stain was getting blue flags and was equally fighting for position at exactly the same time. So that could have been a very troublesome time for Essa, but managed to get through, and he'll be looking to get past Kevin Barber as quickly as possible down this straight. He should lift.
Yeah, there we go. There's the lift. Yeah, much nicer place for Barber to do it.
Yeah.
He should have a reasonable gap on Stain by now.
And he's cemented that spot, hasn't he? So he'll be trying to carry on, see how many places he can gain. He's running out of time, though. 21 minutes to go in this 90-minute race. It's gone quick. Coming out 70 minutes already around here at Brands Hatch. We haven't even needed rain.
No, we haven't.
Derek Peters is very close next up behind Marcus Stain. 3/10 behind. So Stain's getting mugged a little bit here in his BMW. Will he lose a spot here in turn 1 again for the second lap in a row. Oh, he has a look up the inside, does Peters, but he's gone a bit wide. This might be enough to send it up the inside into Druids.
I'd be definitely trying to make this
He is.
stick.
Up the inside into Druids is Peters, and that's 2 places in 2 laps for Marcus Stain struggling in the BMW.
Is it just me or is Stain carrying a little bit of damage?
Yeah, he's certainly got some rubs on his livery at least. So possibly he is. He's certainly going backwards now. He's got more of a gap behind him to Heineke, but he might be able to just regroup a little bit. Chris Heineke obviously working his way through the field from starting in 20th positions up into 12th. Just outside the top 10. Can he do it? 19 minutes to go. He's only a few seconds off. I mean, that top 10 spots is there to be had for anyone from 14th up, really. Sas van der Westhuizen back into 14th position.
Yeah, gaps are definitely starting to appear. We've got Lawrence Sterner trying to catch up to the back of Endron Governor. But Endron does seem to have got the hang of that McLaren for point blank racing.
I do quite like Sterner's livery. I don't know whether that's an in-game one. I think it probably is because it's very BMW-ish, but it does,
I think it is, yes.
Does suit that car, doesn't it? You can see why they use it. Yeah, I definitely think it's an in-game one.
I think Endrons is in game as well at the moment.
We had someone that's thoroughly confused in the Division 2 race. Obviously didn't quite finish the Division 2 because he's in chat and concerned that he saw Ross Bartle racing in 2 divisions, but getting confused with Roxanne Bartle.
It's that one, yes.
Yes. Which is the better half of Ross Bartle, I believe, is it?
Yeah, it's Ross Bartle's sister, and the Bartles
sister, sibling. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, didn't know that. Oops, I'm going to get in trouble now.
Good way to put your foot in it.
Yeah, very much so.
LaRue
but she's also... Roxanne Bartle is in chat.
Yes.
Is this the same one? Yes. So didn't
Probably.
finish Division 2 either. So why are all the Division 2 drivers watching us in Division 1? It's not a shorter race, is it?
No, it's not. I'm guessing there were some things that happened in Division 2.
Maybe some incidents in Division 2. We might want to be streaming that next round.
I was going to say, we might have our work cut out for us as stewards. I am watching Mike LaRue, Jason Luck, and Ronald Childs, 17th, 18th, and 19th. They're having a pretty decent battle for that 17th position. All quite close together. Jason Luck, of course, our top running Porsche at the moment.
Which you can't believe in 18th position if you go back just 2 seasons ago where that Porsche just absolutely owned.
Dominating everything.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's featuring quite heavily in the virtual Kyalami 9 hour this weekend. But then it was always strong there, wasn't it? Always strong there.
Yeah.
So, it is a highly selected car at Kyalami still. But clearly these guys don't miss a trick. They would have looked at our schedule and, think, well, which car overall, that's what you want to do. You don't pick it on the first track, do you? You pick it on the average of 6, where you'd like to think you do. So, yeah, these guys will know which cars overwhelmingly will be best over 6 average rounds.
Certainly at this point, you never know what the updates are going to bring. So there is something to be said for picking a car that you just generally enjoy the balance of, and
not worrying about it.
Yeah. Look at somebody like a Kieran Patterson in that Ferrari for season upon season. Sterner in the Aston Martin. There's a lot to be said for that kind of thing. Yeah,
though Kieran Patterson switched to a 720S, is in the top 5 quite comfortably, so possibly maybe wish he'd switched a little bit earlier. But yeah, it's a good round from... the top 3 have been in a bit of a league of their own, haven't they? Esser, Jadwa and Minar, as they were from qualifying. It's exactly how they are with 16 minutes left to go of round 1 here at Brands Hatch. Zaya Esser's got a 10-second lead over Bashir Jadwa. They were... hardly anything between them in HLQ, hardly anything between them in qualifying, but over a 90-minute race, there is 10 seconds between them. And Philip Minard, he did so well at the start of this race and just struggled to keep hold of the coattails of Jadwa, and has now got a 15-second gap back in 3rd. I think he's probably secretly quite happy with that, as he should be, to be quite frank. Phenomenal drive from him. And,
I reckon he'll be very happy with the podium, but I do wonder...
I mean, at some point, you just relinquish the chase and just think, no, I'll just concentrate on being consistent and not going off, and I'll take my third spot. Or do you think the other two have just left him? I think he's just lacked a little bit of pace in the second stint.
Possibly a little bit of pace in the second stint. I think possibly a little bit of consistency, and I'm guessing it's the experience of Jadwat and Essa that has really shone through here tonight. Just in terms of things like tyre management. I mean, we've seen that Philip can basically do the same ultimate lap time as both Jadwat and Essa, but the difference really is, I think, the things like tyre management, and that Jadwat and Essa are able to do those lap times consistently as the tyres slowly wear down. They're able to modify their driving styles very slightly, or get their setups so dialed in that they don't need to worry too much about tyre wear, or they've got less tyre wear. All of those kind of things are going to play into a race that's 90 minutes long like this.
It's hard to keep your concentration. Obviously, we're used to Sim Race South Africa, where all races were 90 minutes long, but we let that go a few seasons ago and then came back to it last season. I think it is fitting for GT3 racing, though, to be honest. Should reward consistency. Had a shout out in chat trying to find out where Neil Pretorius is in the 134 car. I think he's in Division 2, mate. So I'm going to struggle to show it to you because he's not on my list.
He's
here?
number 31. He's in 31st at the moment in the BMW.
There you go. He is. He snuck into Division 1. He's in 31st. There's Neil Pretorius in the 134 BMW. I had a look and missed him, but there we go. He's got a bit of a train behind him fighting.
I think, is that 8?
Neville in the Lexus is looking up the inside here. We might see Pretorius losing a spot. No, it's not. It's a back marker. He's getting out of the way for back markers, isn't he? Yeah, he's getting out of the way.
It's Bingham who's been closed in on by Barber. So Barber's closed about 5 seconds on Bingham in about the last 6 or so laps.
He's about to get lapped by a masterclass car as well. So I think if we speak to Neil Pretorius after the race, he'll be saying that he was avoiding blue flags for the second half of this race.
Yeah.
But he's done so very well indeed. Nothing worse than cutting to one of the back markers, taking out someone else. But that was very well driven down the front straight, moving out of the way to let the leaders through.
Yeah, we've got Peters now all over the back of Bingham. So Bingham's lost position to Barber. Of course, Barber on that recovery drive, having to do an extra pit stop for some reason. We're still unsure why that is. Peters looking up the inside. He's done this move before. Bingham closing the door on him. Oh, and just getting it a little bit squirrely. That's always such a dangerous place to try and make an overtake. And
just have another look here on replay. Yeah, he lost it on his own. He wasn't pushed at all.
Yeah.
He lost it completely on his own.
Yeah, it's just so difficult to go side by side through there. We saw Peters make a move, I think, on Heineke through there. And Heineke just completely backed out, I think for that exact reason, because it's so difficult to run side by side through Hawthorne.
Little shout out from our leaders, Essa, who's just managed to put in a 1:23.1 again with 12 minutes to go and 13-minute lead. He just doesn't let up, does he? He never has, and I don't think he ever will. So his fastest lap of the race is a 22.92, and his last lap was only 1.5 tenths off that after basically 80 minutes of driving. That is the consistency that you need to win a Division 1 GT3 race at Sim Race South Africa. This consistency I'll never get out of it. Yeah, it's actually, you're quite right. It's quite easy to be consistent and slow. It's actually a lot easier to be consistent and slow. To be quick and consistent is something else. But yeah, Bashir Jadwat is completely given up the ghost now. 24.8 was his last time through, so 1.7 seconds slower than Zyrest on the last lap. So S is really enjoying himself in this first round at Brands Hatch. And unless some awful fatality was to happen with 11 minutes to go, he should come away with a full hatful of points.
Yeah, and kind of the perfect start for Masterclass 1-2.
Yeah, they should be called Mercedes for constructors, shouldn't they? Because, I mean, they're destined to take their constructors title, team's title. We're riding on board at the moment with Chris Heineke, who's managed to get into 11th, desperately close to a top 10. As he's got Sean Bingham in front of him, and it's only 0.4 of a second in front. In the other BMW.
Sean's struggling at sort of towards the death of this race. He's done exceptionally well today, must be said. But
yes,
his
very
pace
much so.
does feel like it's fallen off somewhat.
Yeah, and we've got Heineke sniffing a top 10 finish in round 1, which is exactly what he wants, and it'll be a good night's work considering where he qualified. He's super close to Surtees. Had to just lift, and we just see Bingham stretch his legs because of that.
Once again, we've seen ACC, the draft really makes little to no difference.
Yeah, it doesn't really in AC either. Yeah, it's never been a huge feature in Assetto. I mean, if you were in iRacing there, massive difference, massive. Yeah, in any car. But I mean, in the Formula cars, outrageous difference. You'd swap every single lap in those little skip barbers. You'd actually not pass people sometimes on purpose because you would wait for the draft to be right. So you don't want to pass with 1 lap to go. You'd just rather sit behind and pass on the last lap. It's ridiculous. People play strategy calls with passing the draft is that much. But here, not so much. As we see
getting Clark Curve wrong, and
Heineke trying to go around the outside.
Yeah, he is trying. He's trying his best, but Sean's got it right. You want to be on the inside here. Keep on the inside of Druid, Sean.
Great battle between these BMWs, isn't it? Heineke, Bingham.
Yeah. So Sean made a mistake, but he gathered himself and made sure to keep that position. Excellent defensive driving from Sean in the end there.
And we're riding on board with Bingham, looking through his rear wing as he's got the BMW. And this is where we saw a mistake previously from Heineke, just having to lift on the exit of Surtees and couldn't get into the draft. Is it going to be any better this lap? It's not. He's dropping back again, isn't he?
Yeah.
Struggling. Not getting any effect at all. It could be different setups.
I was going to say it could be a different aero. That definitely has an effect, but in terms of straights, that's not the longest in the calendar by any stretch of the imagination.
No,
you really have to be looking to like a Paul Ricard or Mount Panorama when you're coming down the hill.
Oh hell yes, Panorama. If you don't get drafted Panorama, you never will. Also, that kink on the end of that, you don't want to. You've got to try and get it done before there. Really, that's pretty dicey. Front straight after turn 1 is Mount Panorama drag. But yeah, quite a battle between these two BMWs to try and clinch that top 10, coveted top 10 spot in Division 1 with 7 minutes to go. Marcus Stain is only a minute behind. He'll be looking and hoping these two come together possibly. He inherits a top 10. Looking further down through the field, looks like gaps. Yeah, Stain's got past.
Lost the place. No. Stain's lost the position. Oh, sorry. Stain got past Heineke.
Yeah, Heineke made a mistake. Let's just see whether we can go back. Yeah, there we go. As Stain shoots past Heineke. Yeah. Yes, and now Marcus Stain really is sniffing a top 10. Bingham's trying to hold on to it for the skin of his teeth.
Yeah, he's happy that these two are going to be squabbling now. That's perfect for him. With just over 6 minutes to go. Yeah,
plenty of breathing room now. 1.5 seconds will be very, very nice with only 6 minutes to go. Talking about 5 laps left of this race, 4 or 5 laps. And let's just remind ourselves where we're at after nearly 85 minutes of this race. Darius leads by nearly 15 seconds to Bashir Jadwat. Philip Minar is a good sort of 15 back again. Yet to cross the line. Ross Bartle, not seen much of him. He's had a bit of a boring race, really, but he's done well because he's up in 4th spot. It seems to have not really been involved with too much action. But the overall result, I think he'll be pretty happy with. 4th position. Kieran Patton's had a good debut race in a different car for a change. Top 5 is nothing to be snorted at in a very yellow banana 720S that I think we'll see in a slightly different skin next round out. Mark van Rensburg, who was epic in the GP last week, has solidified that in ACC as well with a top 6 in the 720S. Haynes been a pretty much of a standout though, hasn't he? In 7th position. That's a fantastic result.
Yep.
Kevin Barber 8th, Derek Peters 9th, and as we know, Sean Bingham desperately trying to cling on to the final top 10 spot.
Can you tell me what, with 5 minutes to go now, what are the lap times of Sas van der Westhuizen versus Chris Heineke?
Sas van der Westhuizen's last lap was a 1:24.825. And Heineke, well, he had that big mistake, didn't he? So it was a 1:26.9. So job to know what his natural pace is. But yeah, Sas is lapping considerably quicker than everyone else. Marcus Stain, 1:25.6. Bingham, 1:25.5. Derek Peters, 1:24.8. Whereas Sas van der Westhuizen is also in the 1:24, so he's nearly a second a lap quicker. Why does he always do this to himself? As we see 2 Grumpy Monkey cars from different positions, switching places. That'll be Philip Minnaar saying hello to his teammate.
Probably throw some gravel in his face for good measure.
No, his teammates. You don't do that.
Oh, that's what he did.
Wave as you go past. Wave as you go past. The Queen's wave as you just go lap your teammate. That feels good, lapping your teammate, doesn't it? My word.
Not sure you're legally allowed to do a Queen's wave in an Italian car.
No, it's always allowed. Always allowed.
But, you know, Philip should be trying to tow Sas along to try and catch up.
Yes.
He's definitely lost out here.
4 minutes to go. I don't think Sas realised how much he was catching the guys in front, because there is definitely a couple of spots open there. But maybe not now with 2.2 seconds to gain in only 4 minutes.
Yeah, they should have played the team game there, definitely. Those two on the same team.
Yeah,
Philip is obviously quicker, but it doesn't really matter at this stage. He's got 3rd wrapped up. Should have let us try and attack Heineke, because he's now gaining once again. He's gained almost a second this lap. Oh, Philip's into the wall.
No.
Philip's hit the wall.
Oh, I've got to go back. Let's go back. Philip Minnaar, how do you make a mistake like this with only 2 minutes to go? Coming towards the end of the lap. Last left-hander. Where is he? Where does he hit the wall then?
He hits the wall into the last corner. Going through the last corner, he hits the wall.
Oh, he completely loses it. Yeah.
Yeah. He just clips the grass.
Yeah, waiting for it, thinking, well, what on earth happened there? But I mean, he should be able to continue. 2.5. Where's Ross Bartle? Where is he?
Bartle is quite a ways behind, actually.
Yeah.
You know, Philip's going to have to lose huge amounts of time to make a difference now.
No, so that he's gonna have certainly a little bit of damage, but not enough to end his race or take away his podium, which would be a bit of a catastrophe, because I feel like he's really earned it, Philip Minnaar. He deserved his podium spot. 20 seconds back from Jadwat now, though. Kieran Patterson, I was looking at a gap, was very close at some point, but I don't know, before we had the frantic bit, I don't know why I saw a close gap, because it's not there whatsoever. He's just driving around completely on his own, isn't he? So I'm not quite sure what I picked up on. Nothing, obviously. So yeah, Philip Minnaar's limping his way home now, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. The gap between Sas and Stain is basically... Oh, no, it hasn't. Sas is still gaining, but I just don't think it's enough. He's gaining about 6/10 a lap.
Well, Marcus Stain was at 1:27, 2 seconds slower that lap. What? He got involved with something else.
Markers, possibly?
Possibly, trying to get through back markers. Yeah, there is a whole bunch.
Oh, Sas. Sas now makes a mistake. That puts pay to that.
Yeah, it's so easy to do there, pushing. Oh, he just got a little bit squirmish. He did the right thing. He just ran it out wide on the grass. Perfectly fine there. Not a problem.
Oh,
look at the difference, because he's about to unlap himself from Philip Minnaar. So this is a demonstration of the amount of damage that Minnaar's currently nursing to get to the end of this race. There we go. Swap the Queen's wave. I'm coming through again.
Yeah. Right, so leaders on the final lap of the race.
And it's been a dominant race for
It
Zayaressa.
really has.
It really has.
has.
He'll be super pleased with that. The two teammates that joined together this season for a very ominous looking team for everybody else is going to finish 1-2. But it's been Zayaressa that's shown his masterclass during 90 minutes. And is looking like he's going to win this by a good, 15 seconds from Bashir Jadwat. Superb drive.
It was 17 when they last went over the start-finish line.
Yeah, that's
So
a phenomenal
quite
lead.
dominant, yeah.
And he's flashing his lights to let back markers. He knows he's coming through, not taking any risk here, but he's pushed. He's been flat out for 90 minutes. At no point has he just nursed his time. He's really, really pushed. The only guy that's currently in the 23s and comfortably in the 23s. So it has been a proper masterclass drive from Zayaressa in the McLaren. I think he jumps into a different car for the weekend's Kyle Army 9-hour. So it'll be interesting how he gets on there. I think he's in the Audi with Stuart White and Michael Stevens. Another formidable team right there. Great win. Zayaressa takes the win here, round 1 at Brands Hatch.
Yeah, congratulations to him. Really, really well deserved. We see Bashir Jadwat coming through the last corner and picks up an excellent second place as well. It'll be interesting to see if he feels he was outclassed by his teammate tonight, or if just Brands Hatch just doesn't suit him. That's entirely possible as well. So we'll have to wait and see.
And Philip Minard could have been disaster, but he has nursed his car back. So glad he did that mistake at the end of the race, because he got a very well-deserved third position. Fantastic round from Philip Minard on the Grumpy Monkey Ferrari 488. He'll be very, very happy with that. And Ross Barthel is going to come through for a round that he himself called quite difficult in that car track combo. Be looking forward maybe to round 2, but still,
The good result then,
very good
considering.
result. Very good result.
Yep.
Yeah. Kieran Patton apparently had a few shenanigans at the end. He went off wide, which is why I saw a time disappear. But he also manages to keep his 5th position. And we're going to have Mark van Rensburg coming through to 6th place, and then everyone else was a lap behind. So I've already completed Barber 7th, Oosthuizen 8th, great race. Sean Bingham did get not only in top 10, managed to get into 9th, so someone else dropped back. Chris Heinecker got his 10th top 10 spot. So that's a wrap here for the first round at Brands Hatch of this season. 5 more rounds to go, and we got Legends next week. I'll just take us to our countdown background screen, that we can just sum up how we go now the race is finished, and see whether someone wants to join us for a quick chat. Possibly wait for a few guys, but if not, we've got Legends next week, as we had a good rundown. Bashir Jadwat's joined us in off-air.
I've got Bashir Jadwat. I'll bring him in.
Bash, that was a good race, mate. How did you enjoy it? I mean, it was you and your masterclass team, which, to be quite frank, I think is actually illegal for you two to team up, Essa and Bash. You know, Essa's joined us as well in chat, but I think there should actually be a rule that you two are not allowed to become teammates, because it's, I mean, basically the team's championship we could just not even bother producing. But how did it go for you guys?
For me, I didn't have anything for Zaire today. He was just gone. I think I messed up my strategy a bit on my setup before the start of the change in temperatures. So I think I dropped my pressures too much, or I used old tires. But that first stint was horrible. I just struggled to get any sort of rhythm. The second stint was a bit better, but by then it was too late, and he was just flying. I think it was more of a survival race for me, because I nearly died with back markers at least 10 times.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, very good.
It was.
That we saw a common theme at the end of the first stint, that McLaren was getting all over the place. We're seeing back markers really struggling. We're seeing quite a few cars really struggling at the end of the first stint, and then at the end of the second stint as well on used tyres. We had Philip Minard go into the wall. We had Kieran Patterson go drift off. So struggling at the end. Esther, you didn't struggle though, because I saw your final couple of laps on your first stint, and you were only 2/10 off your fastest lap of the race. So what did you do different?
Oh, was I? Well, I was struggling as well.
Well, your lap times didn't show it, so you can be proud of
yeah,
that.
yeah. I felt very rusty. I mean, for both of us, the last race we drove was the last sim race last season. So just shaking off some rust, I think, in the first stint. But we went quite aggressive. Well, thanks to Bash, first of all, for everything. Like, I had no time to prep for anything, no laps or anything. He did all the prep, all the hard yards. So thanks to him. He gave me a nice setup to work with. It was just a bit aggressive. I think we didn't do long runs. We didn't have time to do that. So towards the end of the stint, like, the tires were bad. It was tough keeping the car headed in a straight line. But I think we adjusted. Well, I adjusted in the second stint. Like, I knew what was coming, so I just managed the tires a lot better. So the second stint was a lot better.
So that's interesting. You're both running identical setups. So it's not like you're works for one of you and not the other in terms of driving style.
Yeah. So I mean, we used to teaming up for the World Cup and things like that. So we're driving the same car, so we have to drive the same setup. But I think Bash has just slightly different driving style to me. So
so it's just the tire pressures are slightly different.
Yeah, so some little tweaks we'll do.
But they're running the same setup for this race, but for round 2, if Bash has to do all the setup work, he might be giving Essa something slightly tasty to work with.
Yeah.
Teammates, it's your turn for round 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Might be steering with the rear tires, so I don't know what it'll be up to. But,
Now it'll only get better in round 2 because I think we were just learning this car.
Yeah, we don't know this car at all exactly.
It was we were struggling. I mean, like, I struggled initially. I thought we were going to be nowhere. You can ask Z. I told him initially that I think we made the wrong choice in car because I had no pace in this car. So it took an entirely different driving style to get something out of it.
And do you think the cold temperatures help, Bash? I mean, was that play a big factor at all?
I actually prefer the hotter temps, but the cold temps seem... it was decent. Look, I think the pace was in the car, but we didn't do enough prep in race conditions. I didn't do enough prep on race conditions because I wasted a lot of time, or not wasted, but I did a lot of prep on the HLQ server because we were nowhere with this car. So I did a lot of the setup work there. So yeah, that put me a bit on the back foot. But I think at the end of the day, this is a good base setup that we have now to work from.
And you'll definitely get your hot temperatures. You'll get your hot temperatures back at Mount Panorama. I'm sure that'll be the opposite problem. So we try and replicate the real life temperatures, and I think 10 degrees is as low as we could go. Otherwise, we'd actually have gone lower. Because Brands Hatch is not a nice place to live in this time of year.
Yeah, I was surprised you guys didn't choose the rain. Dan, you normally like the rain. What happened?
I'm not allowed to do anything, Bash. You should know this by now. I literally just talk and nothing else. I have no control over anything. Otherwise,
you need to put your 2 cents in there, man. The rain would have been epic.
I know.
We decided to be kind to everyone and not have round 1 be soaking wet.
So the rest of them we can expect some rain for all of them. Yeah?
Nick's just too nice a guy. It's just far too nice, is Nick. I mean, we need to get some mean admins in charge.
Oh, Mount Panorama, watch out! It's going to be thunderstorms the whole way.
Oh my word, that's too harsh. Not for that track.
No, I'm kidding. But no, genuinely, there wasn't any rain predicted for Brands Hatch, so that's why there's none.
Just cold and crap.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Just cold and crap. Yeah.
But well done, guys. That was a masterclass. Really was. I mean, I always say it's a bit of choosing that team name puts a sort of a little bit of weight on your shoulders. But when you just absolutely boss it for a 1-2, it's got to feel good as well.
Yeah, we're happy. I'm happy with that.
Good result. Very good result.
Superb.
Push on to the next one.
We're going to look forward
Nicely
to
done,
the
James.
inter-team battle for the rest of the season. So 5 more rounds. I'm sure you both want to beat each other just as much as Rosberg Hamilton did back in that season.
Yeah,
this
we'll
is what
try
this
and push
season
each other.
feels like.
Yeah, it should be interesting.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining.
Cheers.
I appreciate your time. Well done. So I think that's it for us, me and Nick, here at the first round of Brands Hatch. We very much look forward to next weekend's Legends and a whole new car. And then before you know it, we'll be back here for round 2 in the ACC Championship. And we'll see whether it's another 1-2 from the Masterclass boys. Anything to sign off with, Nick?
Just that it was a great start to the season. I really look forward to the next few rounds. And anybody thinking of joining, come find us, simracesa.co.za. Sign up, join the Discord, and come find some battles. You know, with 106 people signed up, you're guaranteed to find some racing somewhere. So yeah, don't be shy. It's great fun. Come join.
Yeah, brilliant, guys. Thanks so much for everyone that came and watched on the live chat as well and kept us company. We look forward to seeing you next week. But in the meantime, everyone, drive safe, go well.